Hello there. This is Heirs to the Kingdom channel. And in today's lesson, we're doing chapter 11 and 12 of Hosea. If you're new to this is a Bible study channel. I'm going through the King James Bible. I am reading it aloud, explaining it, teaching it, and at the same time, I'm still learning parts of it as well. And so I do recommend starting off at Genesis chapter 1 and getting caught up. It's the Bible has a buttload of information in it, but it all has one message, one master, 3 in 1. The Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost. And the Word is Jesus, and Jesus is the Word. This is where we get the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But the Bible doesn't say Father and Son. It says Father and Word and the Holy Ghost. Why is that important? Because the Word is over you. If you're a politician in America, if you're treating being a Christian like that, if you're a politician, a servant of the people, then the Bible would be the Constitution. It is over you. You must obey it, except this Constitution cannot be amended. You cannot change anything in it. You have one choice. Obey. That's it. That's all you have. You teach it. You live by it. You do what God says. Now, we're not going to be perfect in this. We're going to mess up daily. Going to get stressed out, say words, get feelings, get depressed, get sad, get angry. You know, we're going to be feeling good about ourselves one day, and boom, it turns into a little bit of vanity. I still do this from time to time. I don't mean to, but we're in this earthly flesh. You know, I like to sing. I'm pretty good at it, I think. And then when I have people tell me that I sing very well, it makes me feel good. I like to impress people when I sing, and that's not why I was given the gift. But I'm still human. I spent a lifetime of being put down, so when I do something very well and people praise me for it, I don't always thank God for it. I get a little, butterfly in the stomach feeling, for it. It's like, yay, little dopamine hit. Someone likes me. No, they like my talent. Doesn't mean that they like me. But nonetheless, we have this desire to be liked, to be appreciated by others. The lesson I had to learn in life is people will let you down. The world will let you down. Everybody will let you down but God. God says what He means and means what He says. You may not end up with all your desires on earth this time. But if you serve the Master, if you are a Christian, then this isn't your last time on earth. This is your tryout to see if you make the club, be one of the members. And when the world's made anew, then you get all that stuff. The meek shall inherit the earth. The Christians are going to get the planet. All these world powers today are going to be in hell. All these George Soros people and BlackRock and all these other things, people think they're buying up the planet and they're going to own everything and control everybody. They're going to be in hell. And everything that they wasted money on, this, that, and the other, will be destroyed. God says, do not hold on to anything of this earth. because all will be made new. Everything. If you're used to seeing certain domesticated animals, they won't exist one day. God's going to make everything new. How's he going to make it? What's he going to make it look like? I don't know. The Bible talks a little bit about it, but we will know more details when we get there, when it all happens. And it's like I'm a pet lover. I have dogs, 4 dogs and a cat, and 2 aquariums. I used to have birds growing up too, so I've had pets of everything. And my cat's a little rambunctious, so I'm not going to get a bird. And I got a bird dog. He's brought me a bird before, and I'm like, I didn't appreciate that, but thank you for the gift. I got some feral cats I feed. They kind of keep the mice and stuff out of the house. And the other day, that one, the one that likes me the most, brought me a little finch. And I'm like, oh, thank you, but don't hurt the little finchies. They're good birds. But the animal kingdom is the animal kingdom. It is what it is. You know, we have to accept this. The world is going to be destroyed one day. You know, we have this little issue going on with the Democratic Party and all the illegals in America. They're trying to destroy America. They think if they succeed, they're going to get their slavery back, their slave class back. They don't realize that they will dismantle the Constitution and the country, and everything that they thought was going to keep peace in this country will be gone, and then it will be the Wild West, like it was once before. You know, no rule of law. It'll just be people doing what they want, total anarchy. Now, I don't have any children, so when I leave this earth, you know, everything I fought for is for nothing. The only reason why I bought a home is because it's cheaper than renting. I never really cared to be a homeowner. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, of all the repairs and maintenance and upkeep. I have a half-acre yard I wish someone else would mow so I could have more time to do other things, because my body is broken from the military. To be honest, I enjoyed living in apartments far more because I didn't have to fix nothing. I could just focus on my job, my hobbies, my vehicle. That's it. You know, go get my soap, shampoos. I'd use a bathroom. I didn't have to build it. I didn't have to repair it. That was someone else. You know, but now renting a studio apartment, that's almost $1,000 a month. I'm only $400 a month on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on a half-acre of land with a 2-car garage attached. I like living in Tennessee for stuff like that. It's a lot more affordable. But I bought this house at a certain time when buying was good. It was $78,000 for this. I've already got over half of it paid off. But that's when it's really going to be beneficial being a homeowner, is when I pay it off. And then I don't have a mortgage either, and then I can just focus on remodelings and repairs. But I have no one to leave anything to. The condition of this country is irrelevant to me after I pass, because I don't have any offspring that's going to be living in it. Some of you do. You know, it's... But always remember, God is in control. And for some of these states that allow this stuff to happen, we need to just... Sometimes I feel we just need to let them burn themselves to the ground so we can come in and fix them. If you keep trying to put the flames out, they're not going to get burnt enough to learn to quit doing stupid things. Sometimes you got to let people get burnt so they learn to quit playing with fire. It's a pain and suffering is one of the best tools ever to teach you about real life. And God uses that tool in Hosea. That's what they're speaking of as they're going into Babylon, being enslaved to Babylon and other nations, this, that, and the other. They're going to lose their country. They're going to endure pain and suffering, and a lot of them are going to die. Or, I'm sorry, have died. This is past. But God uses pain and suffering as a tool, an educational tool. Chapter 11's title is A Father's Love. Now, I've known people who have children that's been going down the wrong path, this, that, and the other. Say, hey, sometimes tough love's the best. Let them fall flat on their face. You got to let them get hurt. Let them come to you and ask for help. Because if you try to force help upon them, they just run away from you more. And everyone just looking at me like I'm stupid. Oh, you don't have any kids. You don't know what I did. I'm like, I am human. I understand the concept of things, and I have helped raise children. They may not have been mine, but I'm not an idiot. Also, you have the teachings of God that, says this very same thing. Chapter 12 title is His Past Mercies. So what do we already know about this whole story of going into Babylon for 70 years is God's going to bring them back out and make them better than what they once were. Make a new covenant with them. The old temple has to be destroyed. It was destroyed. A new temple had to be built because the old temple had murdered children in it. And God's like, that's not my home no more. It's been perverted, polluted. Got to get rid of it. Start new. It's like these, Los Angeles and these places in Colorado, this, that, and the other. They've been polluted too badly. Just let them burn themselves to the ground and then build new. Everyone keeps trying to put the flames out in California. I'm like, let it go. I mean, these people aren't learning from anything. And these are the last people you want in charge of anything because they're morons. They're stupid, satanic morons. They think a dollar bill, having lots of money, is going to fix everything. They think it's going to buy them into heaven, too. Because they gave to a charity once in a while or something. I gave $5 million. Yeah, but you had billions of dollars. Who else did you help? Oh, that's right. You had your own private helicopter, private jet. You had houses in multiple states. Mansions in multiple states. You had personal drivers. You had, limousines. You had the fanciest cars, the fanciest outfits. You had fancy. Who did you actually help? Nobody but yourself. These people think that they're going to be able to buy their way into heaven. It ain't going to work. We got to pray for these people. These people are the lost. Yeah, whoever needed to hear this stuff, I felt in my heart something needed to be said. Stuff needed to be talked about. I live in Tennessee. L.A. is not even on my radar. I pray for the people there, but these people voted for this. I'm all supporting ICE going in and removing the illegals and casting them out of our country because we have taxes. If we didn't pay taxes in the country, we shouldn't have borders in. Everybody should be able to go wherever. There ain't no taxes being paid. Who cares? But we do have taxes. We have responsibilities. We have an army. We have enemies abroad. We have enemies connected to us. We have to, we have to keep things proper. But I'm an old soldier. I'm the type, I believe in going through with a full force. If rioters won't move, bash them in the head, knock them out, and throw them to the side, and just go accomplish your mission and come tend to them later. You start knocking heads, they'll run. But as long as you keep saying, "Oh, please stop," they're just going to get worse because you fear them instead of them fearing you. And I'm sorry, when it comes to combat situations, if you do not strike fear in the enemy, they will roll all over you. This is a fact. But, I'm not there. I'm not a part of this. I got my own little section of this life and world and whatever to deal with on my own. If the fight comes here, I pray it don't, because I'm the type, I'm just going to open fire. I know for a fact that mobs are a weapon, a severe deadly weapon, and that threatens my life or severe bodily injury, which either one gives me a right to use deadly force. And that's just who I am. And in my state, it's legal. We're allowed to shoot trespassers if they refuse to leave. Why? Because they know violence. If they're there and won't leave, then they're there to cause problems, do harm. So, like I said, pray for LA. Pray for the people to get smarter. But it ain't going to happen because they don't serve God. They serve Satan. Satanic people are easily swayed to do wrong. Easily swayed. God says in the teachings of the Bible, it doesn't say it word for word, but this is what it means. You must obey all the laws of man unless the man's laws goes against God's laws. We learned that from Daniel in Babylon. The three in the furnace, Daniel in the lion's den. They disobeyed the laws of the country they were enslaved to. They obeyed God more, even if it was going to cost them their lives. God says this. But all the other rules you obey. It's a sin, literally, to disobey the laws of your community unless it violates God's laws and God tells you to do something else by the scriptures. But this is the Bible study channel, and world events is also part of all this, because we're seeing the destruction of the planet already happening. Not really the physical destruction of the planet, the physical destruction of Christian nations. They are just doing what they can to dismantle America. It is the last so-called Christian nation, and that's not saying much, because America has faltered in many areas. But for all the faults of America, still trying to do good. And that's why I'm here to try to help educate people on what the Bible truly says, instead of the churches are going to just doing the pretty messages when that's all that they hear. Let's get started here. They're going to be fast readings. And so I've already talked for over 18 minutes. Almost 20 minutes. So these are straightforward readings. Not much to describe here. We've talked about it before. And, I said the title of this one, chapter 11, is The Father's Love. So chapter 11, verse 1. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. Now, of course, here they ain't talking about the nation. It's talking about the person, Jacob, who was renamed Israel. Verse 2. As they called them, so they went Right here, Israel is a nation being called out of Egypt, but later on they start talking about Jacob. Jacob was brought into Israel, was renamed Israel, and was brought into Egypt as well, but he died there. And his 12 sons started the 12 tribes, which reproduced there. And then there was many strong, outnumbering the Egyptians. So the Egyptians made them slaves. We don't went over that part. And then Moses came and brought them forth out into their own land. Let's continue. Get back here, verse 2. As they called them, so they went from them. They sacrificed unto Baalim and burned incense to graven images. I taught Ephraim also to go, taking them by their arms, but they knew not that I healed them. I drew them with cords of a man, with bands of love, and I was to them as they that take off the yoke on their jaws, and I laid meat unto them. He shall not return into the land of Egypt, but the Assyrian shall be his king, because they refused to return. And the sword shall abide on his cities, and shall consume his branches, and devour them, because of their own counsels. And my people are bent to backsliding from me. Though they called them to the Most High, none at all would exalt him. How shall I give thee up, Ephraim? How shall I deliver thee, Israel? How shall I make thee as Admah? How shall I set thee as Zeboim? Mine heart is turned within me. My repentings are kindled together. I will not execute the fierceness of mine anger. I will not return to destroy Ephraim, for I am God, and not man, the Holy One in the midst of thee, and I will not enter into the city. They shall walk after the Lord. He shall roar like a lion. When he shall roar, then the children shall tremble from the west. They shall tremble as a bird out of Egypt, and as a dove out of the land of Assyria. And I will place them in their houses, saith the Lord. Ephraim compassed me about with lies, and the house of Israel with deceit. But Judah yet ruleth with God, and is faithful with the saints. Now today you can just take Democrats' system and everything else, the Democratic Party, and use that for Ephraim. They lie about everything, including God. They lie about the Bible. They lie about the Constitution. They lie about everything as long as they keep getting to get money and power. But now let's go on to chapter 12. And it said, the title of this one says, His Past Mercies. Now, from here on, these chapters are connected, but also they're different sections, but they're all entwined, I think, until the end of the book. Because I do know 11, 12, and 13 is. I didn't look ahead at 14. But 14 will be the last one. So we got today and then tomorrow. And then that's it of Hosea. But chapter 12. Ephraim feedeth on wind, and followeth after the east wind. He daily increaseth lies and desolation. And they do make a covenant with the Assyrians, and oil is carried into Egypt. The Lord hath also a controversy with Judah, and will punish Jacob according to his ways. According to his doings will he recompense him. He took his brother by the heel. This is where he's talking about, he's speaking of the person, but also as the nation, because Jacob was renamed Israel. Back to 3. He took his brother by the heel in the womb, and by his strength he had power with God. Yea, he had power over the angel, and prevailed. He wept and made supplication unto him. He found him in Bethel, and there he spake with us. If you don't remember that part about the power over the angel and prevailed, is he fought with an angel, and it wounded his leg that he limped for the rest of his life. It damaged one of his hips. I can't remember which one. So that's what that's speaking of there. Verse 5. Even the Lord God of hosts, the Lord is his memorial. Therefore turn thou to thy God, keep mercy and judgment, and wait on thy God continually. This is still a commandment today. So get verse 6, make one of those irons, whatever, and sear it into your brain. Verse 7. He is a merchant The balances of deceit are in his hand. He loveth to oppress. Now, of course, this isn't talking about God. It's talking about the other. And Ephraim said, Yet I am become rich. I have found me out substance. In all my labors they shall find none iniquity in me that were sin. And I that am the Lord thy God from the land of Egypt will yet make thee to dwell in tabernacles, as in the days of the solemn feast. I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions, and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. Is there iniquity in Gilead? Surely they are vanity. They sacrifice bullocks in Gilgal, yea, their altars are as heaps in the furrows of the fields. And Jacob fled into the country of Syria, and Israel served for a wife, and for a wife he kept sheep. And by a prophet the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt, and by a prophet was he preserved. Ephraim provoked him to anger most bitterly. Therefore shall he leave his blood upon him, and his reproach shall his Lord return unto him. And that's the end of the 2 chapters. So yeah, we know what's the main thing. Serve the Lord and don't be on the wrong side of his wrath. You know, as long as you belong to the master, you belong to him. You know, God. Depending upon which master you serve. I forget to mention it that way, but there's only one God. As long as you serve the Lord, you'll be his. If you serve the other, then you'll be his. You don't want to serve the other. But I've done talked a lot already. So remember to pray. We got to pray for California, all these other states, all these sinners, these Satanists that are out here just causing problems, thinking that they own something or whatever else, serving the world. We got to pray for these people. We got to pray for ourselves that we don't get wrapped up in it and lose focus. It's easy to do because we live here. But we tend to forget sometimes that this is not our home. Even though we may have bought something, we know that it's not going to stand one day. As Christians anyways, we know this. So it doesn't matter what all I paid for here, this house and everything else, or who it goes to after me. It's irrelevant. It's for me to use while I'm here, and that's it. I ain't taking it with me. It ain't going to be in heaven with me. My aquariums ain't. My computers and stereo equipment's not going to be there. My TV, none of this stuff, this house, my vehicle, my tools, all that. It's not going to be there. It's all going to be destroyed. It's all going to be gone one day. I'm going to be back in that studio apartment type thing where I don't have to fix nothing or do any ground maintenance. Well, I'm sorry, we're probably going to do ground maintenance. We're going to be tending to the garden, but, you know, that's the garden for us to feed off of. But God's going to take care of the rest. So, we're not to try to own everything or care about owning too much. Our main goal as Christians is to save souls, to spread the gospel, to witness to other people. You know, I'm highly addicted to classic cars, but I'm not going to waste my money and time building one so I can drive it around and have some freaking, bimbo girl on her phone total it, and then I'm just out of everything I worked hard for. It ain't worth it. I've been down that path before. And insurance companies don't want to pay out nothing. Even though it's a classic car, nothing was wrong with it, and it was in great shape. Blue book value is $200. Here you go. That's all you get. That's literally how they treat you. So, If you're strapped for cash, I say get an e-bike and a raincoat. Raincoats for bad weather, and just make do. You know, modern cars are junk. They ain't worth owning. They cost too much to have. Try to find something older. It's more affordable. Like me currently, I joined that Walmart club thing where they're going to ship me all my groceries and everything I buy from them. I don't have to waste mileage on my vehicle and gas. Less wear and tear, and my vehicle can last longer. And it's cheaper than if I was to drive there myself. Hey, you know, that's a win-win. Anyways, getting back to pray. I'm going to end this lesson. But yeah, I'm going to pray. Pray for the lost, pray for the found. Pray for yourself, pray for others. Pray all day long, pray about everything. Pray before you make decisions on things. Before you travel. If you want to protest something, pray first. Make sure it's worth, protesting. Is it something godly? Is it something God would want you to do? Now, you want to go to a protest area and spread the gospel, hey, more power to you. I guarantee you most people there could care less about God. They don't care about the basic rules of humanity. They dang sure ain't going to care about God. But you can try. I do my best, but I don't cast pearls upon swine. I just try to mention a little bit. They say, I don't want to hear it. Oh, fine, Danny. That's it. I'm done. I move on. I believe in that saying Medea had in one of the plays. Says, when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. I love that saying. I live by that. When someone shows that they're a Satanist, believe them. When someone shows that they're a godly person, believe them. But yeah, so always pray. So until next time, God bless, good night, and goodbye.